Good evening. My name is Carolyn Schoenberger, and I want to welcome you to this month's Immigration Forum. We have a wonderful guest also from the Chicago Legal Clinic, Drew Curl, who manages our Austin office. And we have a lot to talk about tonight because we're going to talk about expungements and a program and a new website from the Chicago Legal Clinic. But first I'm going to talk about the Chicago Legal Clinic in English and in Spanish, and I have important information dealing with the Deferred Action and Childhood Arrival Program. So the Chicago Legal Clinic was founded in 1981 by two brand new lawyers. They had just been sworn in, and they wanted to bring low-cost legal services to South Chicago because there was nothing there for people who lived there. At one point it was a vibrant working community, but when the steel mills started closing in the late 70s, early 80s, people lost their jobs and could not afford to go to businesses, and people started losing their businesses. So the Chicago Legal Clinic was founded in a one-room place in 91st Street back in 1981. Today there are 4 offices: South Chicago, Pilsen where I work, Austin where Drew works, downtown, and there are free advice desks in the Cook County court system, one that deals with child support, one that deals with foreclosures and other types of chancery equitable relief, such as changing a name. And I'm a professor at Harold Washington College, and we have a legal clinic that is pro bono legal clinic for advice and referrals for the students at Harold Washington College. If you have a question concerning immigration, and I know that's a hot topic right now, expungements, if you have a question regarding Social Security disability, bankruptcy, if you're a victim of domestic violence, please call our office from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Call 773-731-1762, 773-731-1762. I also know that there's a lot of panic right now because of the election results and promises to end the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. Please know, no one really knows what's going to happen. The current system cannot take 10 million people, and people do have rights. Most people have a right to see a judge under the Constitution, the Due Process Clause, and the system currently is very, very backlogged. If you were to see a judge today and wanted a trial, your trial would probably not take place until 2020. So people should not panic. They should consult with a licensed attorney or accredited lay representative to find out what their rights are. They perhaps can start to just put together some information. But the important thing is, if you are detained, do not sign anything. You do have the right to talk to a lawyer. There are a lot of workshops that are going on right now, but again, no one really knows what will happen. Unfortunately, we will not know what happens at least until January 20th. Probably should not file if you have not already filed for the Deferred Action Program. You should consider whether or not you want to renew right now. The renewal could be good, or you could end up losing your money. Immigration already has your information. Another issue that has come up, and Drew and I can talk about it, is that if you do have a criminal record, if you try to think that immigration will not look at it, if you clean the record, expunge the record, or seal the record, immigration can look at that. If you want to seal or expunge your record for many reasons, make sure that you get certified copies first, so that in the event your attorney or accredited lay representative needs to know about this, the information will be available. I'm now going to try to say this in Spanish. So, bienvenido en nuestro programa. Me llamo Carolina Schoenberger, soy abogada con la Clínica Legal de Chicago. Y hay mucho esta noche, pero quería decir unas cosas sobre la clínica. La clínica fue establecida en 1982 por 2 nuevos abogados, y fue establecido porque no había ninguna asociación de abogados de bajos costos en el sur de Chicago. Antes de 1982, en los 70s y 80s, había muchas acerías, pero cuando se cerraron las acerías, mucha gente ha perdido su trabajo y no podía pagar los costos normales de un abogado. Entonces, la Clínica Legal de Chicago fue establecida en un solo cuarto en el sur de Chicago. Ahora hay 4 oficinas en los barrios, uno en el sur de Chicago, Pilsen, donde yo trabajo, Austin, donde trabaja mi colega Drew Curl, y uno en el centro. También hay unas oficinas en las cortes, al centro que ayuda con asuntos de mantenimiento de niños, también con foreclosure y problemas de las casas, o si quería cambiar su nombre. Yo soy profesora en Harold Washington College y la clínica legal ofrece servicios legales por estudiantes en Harold Washington College. Por favor, si tiene preguntas sobre inmigración, sobre si tiene un expediente criminal, si tiene problemas con violencia doméstica, si es víctima, bienes raíces, seguro social de disabilidad, favor de llamar a nuestra oficina entre las 9 y 5 de la tarde, 9 de la mañana hasta las 5 de la tarde. Llame por favor al número 773-731762. Yo quiero decir unas cosas sobre el programa por los niños. Con la elección hay mucha ansiedad. Por favor, sabe que tiene derechos. La mayor parte de ustedes tiene derecho de, si hay catastrófica, si está detenido, tiene derecho de pedir por una audiencia con un juez de inmigración. Mucha gente tiene defensas, hay familiares nacidos aquí y por favor, no firme, tiene derechos, nadie sabe lo que va a pasar, nadie sabe. Y con cuidado, por favor, porque hay mucho engaño normalmente, pero ahora con esta elección hay gente que ofrece servicios que no existen legalmente. So, por favor, ten cuidado. Consulta con un abogado con licencia o con un accredited lay representative acerca de su situación porque cada persona tiene cosas diferentes sobre su caso. So, por favor, tiene derechos, por favor, hable con alguien que sí se sabe, por favor. Okay, and so with that sobering thought, I want to welcome Drew again to the program, and we're here really to talk about the expungement program. Tell me about this program.
Sure. So Chicago Legal Clinic is one of the 2 main legal aid organizations in Chicago that does criminal records work. The name of the program is the Blank Slate Records Program at the Chicago Legal Clinic. And we do pretty much all types of criminal records related relief, expungements, sealings, clemency from the governor of Illinois. We have an attorney that'll do federal pardons as well, and we do non-expungement sealing related relief, so certificates of good conduct, healthcare waivers, FOID card related relief. So pretty much you name it, we'll do it as far as criminal records work goes.
And again, to get started for this, what should one do? One should call, make an appointment, but it's better not to go in without documents. What kind of documents would you need?
Sure. So you'd want to call our number, which is behind us there, 773-731-1762. That's our intake number, just like for anything else, the Chicago Legal Clinic. That's who you'd call to get started. But as far as documents, if you call them, they'll, we'll get back to you and we'll tell you a few things that you should have with you. And so the first one is a Chicago rap sheet if you were arrested in Chicago.
Where do you go to get that?
So you have to go to police headquarters to get it, which is the South Michigan Police Station.
That's at 35th in Michigan.
That's correct. Yes, that's the intersection for it. If you just go online, and search for Chicago headquarters. That's the address that comes up for that.
And
too.
how much to get that record? How much does that cost?
So I don't believe it costs anything to get the rap sheet. However, you don't get it the day of. So you have to go there, and then they'll put you in the system, and then they'll tell you to either come back that afternoon or maybe come back on a future day. So just be ready to maybe make either a future trip or have something else to do in the area, because you're not going to be able to get it in 15 minutes and then walk out.
Okay, and what other documents besides your rap sheet?
So the other one that you would consider getting is an Illinois State Police rap sheet. And so that, if you don't have a Chicago or Cook County arrest, that's in your arrest in Illinois, obviously that's what you'd want to get, because the Chicago one won't show anything. Also, if you're just not sure, the Illinois State Police rap sheet is just a good thing to get, because it will cover all the Chicago stuff as well.
And how do you get that?
So you can get that through what's called a live scan vendor request, so anyone that does fingerprints. However, the easiest way is probably to request it directly from the Illinois State Police. You can do it online, and they also have a phone number. If you do Illinois State Police rap sheet request, that will pull it up, and again, it's a free thing. It doesn't cost you anything to do it, but it will take a little bit of time for it to get sent to you.
And once you have that and you come into the office, let's say someone wants to have an arrest expunged. How do you do that? What do you do? What can they expect as far as timing, etc.?
Sure. So if you want to get an arrest expunged, I guess the first question is what other criminal record you might have. So expungement and sealing are slightly different forms of relief. Sealing, at least for right now, and the law might change next year in Illinois, but for right now, expungement is only available if you've never been convicted anywhere. So you might look at an individual record and think, well, that's not a conviction, I can get it expunged. But if you have a previous conviction, even if it's out of state, that will bar you from getting expungement.
So expunged means you're asking a court. It's a court process?
That's correct.
And a court process to eliminate it so that there's no record of it.
Exactly. And so that's the difference between expungement and sealing, is the expunged record will be destroyed completely, whereas the sealed record, law enforcement will retain a copy that only they can see. So the public can't see it, but they can. But
And immigration can see it.
And immigration can see it, as they are an arm of law enforcement, and so they will also see it. And we can talk about that more in a second. But you were mentioning it's a court case, and that's true for both expungement and sealing. Either one of those, if you want to get an expungement done or if you need to have a sealing done because you have a conviction, it's a court process, and so you will need to file a court case. And when you file it, you'll get a date, and then on that date you show up, and the judge will have a hearing on it. So
who will come? Your attorney, and does the state's attorney show up?
The state's attorney does show up, and so when you file an expungement or a sealing petition, notice gets sent to several different people. It gets sent to the arresting agency, so say the Chicago police. It gets sent to the Illinois State Police, and it gets sent to the prosecuting state's attorney, so usually the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Any one of those can file an objection. In practice, the Chicago police, to my knowledge, have never done that. The Illinois State Police will only object if you're not eligible for the relief you're requesting, so if you're asking for something that the law doesn't provide, for instance, to expunge a conviction or something like that. So the main people you'll be up against is the Cook County State's Attorney. They object, I wouldn't say frequently, but more than anyone else. And
What do they object if there's no conviction?
so, in their view, they make an argument for public policy, which is that the public has an interest in knowing the record that you might have that outweighs your interest in getting it expunged. So the example might be if you had a very serious conviction or something very recent, they might say the public, maybe a potential employer or landlord has a right to know about this, and that's more important than you wanting to hide it to maybe get a job.
How often is it denied, the request?
Not that often. That's the good news. So first of all, the Cook County State's Attorney doesn't make objections like that in all cases, and in fact, I would say in at least 50% of the cases, they don't object at all, in which case the judge will grant your petition to expunge your seal because there is no objection and no one's saying no. And then in the cases, the maybe 50% or so where they do object, I would say our success rate's probably 98%, maybe higher. The vast majority of cases, even with objections, still end up getting expunged or sealed. But you might have to do a little bit more work to get there.
Okay, so let's say what is sealing of records?
Sure. So sealing, unlike expungement, which I talked about, which is where the record is expunged or deleted completely, Sealing means it's kept under seal by law enforcement. And so what that means is that they can still see those records even though the public cannot. So if you're applying for a job, a sealed record is just as good as an expunged record because no one can see it. But if you were to get arrested again, or say if you were to apply for immigration-related relief, the sealed record is still going to be visible to them, and so that's not going to help you out there.
How long does the process take for expungements or sealing? How long?
It does not take too long. So from the date of filing until your first court date, right now we're at about 75 days, I think. Now, you might have to get one continuance, say if there's an objection in your case and the judge asks for you to bring back character witnesses or something like that. You might have to come back in a few weeks, but you'll get a chance to schedule that. But again, most of these cases either don't have an objection or get granted over the state's objection on that first court date.
What if you were arrested and charged with a felony? Can that be expunged?
Yes, if it's a dismissal, any felony dismissal or finding him not guilty, anything that's not a conviction, no matter what the charge was, that can be expunged.
What about sealing of records?
As far as sealing on those?
Yes,
so
if it's a felony.
If it's a felony, it could also be sealed as long as it was a dismissal, and you're only in a sealing posture if you have a conviction for something else, but even if you have a felony dismissal and you have a different, say, misdemeanor conviction, that felony could still be sealed as long as it was a dismissal.
So we were talking about immigration issues, and if you're applying for immigration, the general rule is what?
So the general rule, if you're concerned about immigration status, is to keep records ahead of time. Don't go ahead and get them sealed and not have anything. You want to get your certified disposition of all the cases that you're either going to have expunged or sealed, and keep those for yourself. And the reason being is when you apply for immigration relief, immigration enforcement can see those sealed records or expunged records, and they'll know about them. And so you want to have them for your own use so that when you present them to your immigration attorney, they'll know what's going on with the case.
And they should be sealed, they should be certified records.
That's correct. So when you get it, you'll want to go from the courthouse, and they have what's called a certified disposition. That's the official court record that explains what happened in the case. They cost, I believe, $6 per certification. So each case you'll need to keep that. And it'll be, again, the official certified stamped version. So a photocopy won't do. It needs to be the original one from the courthouse.
And we want to emphasize that in Illinois, supervision, if you get supervision, that is not a conviction, but under immigration law, it is a conviction.
Because it's a finding of guilt in either case. And so Illinois law says supervision is not a conviction, and that's true as far as if you're wondering, am I eligible for expungement or sealing? But for immigration purposes, they're going to look at that supervision just like they would any other conviction type.
It's a conviction, and what I explain to clients is that federal law is different than local law, and again, it is important that your lawyer know as much or more than immigration. It is very disheartening to go into a hearing to find out that the government knows more about your client than you do. There's a new website that I'd like to bring up, and maybe you can talk a little bit about the website. So
you can see on the screen right now, this is our new website for the expungement and I guess blank slates criminal records program at Chicago Legal Clinic. So the URL, the URL for it is myexpungement.com, myexpungement.org. I believe actually both will redirect to the same spot. But we're on myexpungement.org, and that has information about how to apply for expungement or sealing or other criminal records relief with the Chicago Legal Clinic. It also has a list of different services we provide, so if you have questions about what you might be eligible for, what kind of things you can do, you can check it out on the site. It has the numbers and information to contact us. So yeah, we just went to the About Us screen, the services screen here, which is a list of all the different things we provide. So it's a free assessment for anybody who contacts us, no matter what. And we will provide representation for you if we think it's a good case and you're eligible for some type of relief. No matter what's gone on in your past, there's some path forward for you, and so we are happy during that assessment to provide you with the best way to clean up your criminal record and next steps you should take, all that kind of stuff. And again, no charge for that.
Okay, and then there's some FAQs, some
That's right.
frequently asked questions.
Yeah, so we have a section on there for frequently asked questions, and so this might be something, or if you're watching this and you're wondering, what are my options, or what do you do if I was arrested outside Chicago? We have answers to all those questions. You can check them out, and if you have been arrested outside of Chicago, I can answer that one. We can help you, at least potentially. We can't guarantee for anybody, but don't think that that's a complete bar for us. We will, again, we're happy to assess any situation, provide you with a path forward.
And then certainly contact us.
Yeah, so the contact us is the best way to reach out to us. Again, it has our intake number on it, 773-731-1762. We also have information if you're involved in any organizations in the community and you might be interested in talking with us or setting up seminars or events. So contact information, contact number for us on there as well. We'd be happy to talk with you and see what we can figure out.
And again, so why would someone want to go to have their records expunged or sealed?
So the most common reason is for work-related reasons. So you might apply for a job, and a common part of job applications these days is a criminal background check. Even if you don't have a conviction, often employers will look at your background, see the arrests, and not want to hire you. Now, they're not supposed to do that. Legally, they're not supposed to consider non-convictions at all in the hiring process, but in practice, it's hard to say. The employer is sitting there and they're looking at your application on the desk, and they have one person that has no criminal background and another person that was arrested for shoplifting, and they might wonder, and that's why you might want to get that record expunged or sealed.
And is it hard to get a pardon?
It's harder than getting an expungement or sealing. So a pardon is a different process. It's not through the court system. It's through the governor of Illinois or the president of the United States in the case of a federal pardon. It takes, these days we are estimating about 2 years to get a pardon from the governor. And that's because they have a lot of other things going on. So it doesn't take that long. It's not like you're working on the case the whole time. We'll submit the application. We'll have a hearing in front of the Prisoner Review Board, and we'll do that stuff within 6 months to maybe 9 months, depending. They do these hearings on a quarterly basis, so depending on when you call. But then after that, you're stuck waiting for a while to hear back from the governor. And also, those cases tend to, unfortunately, have a somewhat lower success rate. The governor grants, and for us, we get about 2/3 of our clemency pardon petitions granted. But I'd say overall the rate's probably lower than that. I'd say maybe 50% of the ones seem like they're granted. So it takes a while and it's not guaranteed, unfortunately.
So again, to get the process, if you have questions, you want an assessment, the place to start is the number in back of your screen, 773-731-1762. Also to arrange for workshops or seminars, not only on the Clean Slate program, expungements, sealings, and pardons, but also if you want to find out some information on immigration, you call 773-731-1762. Drew, I'd like to thank you for coming and talking with us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Again, giving information. I'm just going to, again, show people again your wonderful new website, which is at what is it?
It's at myexpungement.org. Myexpungement.org.
My Expungement, so check that out. We will be back on December 21st, Immigration Forum. We will hopefully have more information on immigration for people because we know it's a concern. Please be careful and remember that you have rights and that there are people who care. You are not alone. I want to thank you again for watching this evening, and please take care and be careful out there. Don't do anything stupid. Be careful out there. So again, thank you very much.